and welcome to the Wellness Hub podcast, a show dedicated to uncovering the future of healthy living. Each week, we aim to bring you content that supports your personal health journey through insightful conversations with amazing guests. We explore various topics ranging from healthy eating, technology, fitness, mindfulness, and more. Now let's join our host, Drew Munro, co-founder and CEO of UpMeals, a Vancouver-based food tech startup on a mission to make healthy meals accessible through technology.
Hello and welcome to the Wellness Hub. As always, we're thrilled to have you with us for yet another edition of Wellness Wednesdays. Every single week, we're hosting amazing guests, having insightful conversations into food, technology, mindfulness, entrepreneurship, and more. And as always, it is our hope that you find these conversations valuable and insightful on your own wellness journeys. Tonight, we're talking about drive, motivation, how to harness the power within yourself to overcome life's obstacles. This past year has seen many of us struggle to stay disciplined with many of our priorities, whether they be fitness or personal development goals. The isolation induced by the pandemic has been a mighty obstacle for all of us to overcome. Yet despite all of that, we've managed to show up in our own ways and soldier on, and we've done our best to find motivation in ourselves or from those around us. Ultimately, whatever power, courage, knowledge, or ability we need to overcome our greatest obstacles is within us. Growth, then, is less of an outward journey and more of an inward one. It's a journey of self-discovery. One area that has expanded rapidly this year is online health and wellness services. This past year, out of necessity, many of us found ourselves accessing workouts, fitness coaching, or mental health resources online that perhaps we never saw ourselves doing before. We're going to explore this shift in detail tonight. Our special guest tonight is an entrepreneur, a wellness coach, and the founder of BRIO, an online platform offering live and on-demand fitness classes, motivational recordings, and personal development workshops. We're going to discuss his rich and diverse background in fitness and coaching, what motivates him to motivate others for a living, and what you can do to unlock your own potential through fitness and self-belief. And as we discuss these very important topics, a reminder, please comment with your questions on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you're watching. We will be answering audience questions all throughout the show. And without further ado, please welcome our special guest this evening, Iwanegbe. CY, welcome to the Wellness Hub.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here, Drew. Thank you for having me. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, it's our pleasure to have you, CY. And I want to start by talking a little bit about your background and your move to Canada. So from what I understand, you grew up in Nigeria and you moved to Canada when you were 13, a really tough age to make a huge move like that. So talk to me, what was that experience like for you and how did you adjust to life in Canada?
Man, you know what? It's like I lived two different lives, to be honest with you. And I'm reminded by that by just little interactions every now and then. Growing up in Nigeria, it's a culture that it's filled with so much passion, you know what I mean? But it was also consumed with corruption and violence. So I was in we were right above that poverty line. We were in the state where, there was so much listen, like, how do I put it? Like, coming here and the life I lived, man, it really shifted my mindset on truly how blessed I am. You know what I mean? And I come here when I moved to Canada at the age of 13 and just really seen the opportunities available to anyone and everyone, no matter your background, whether you had parents or not, you had a disability or not. Like, life could happen for you if you just were courageous enough to dream and courageous enough to go after it. So for me, I've always been a passionate individual because I know where I came from. You know what I mean? I know where I came from. I know the flaws I was slipping on. You know what I mean? I know when there was no light. You know what I mean? I know what, so for me right now, man, being in Canada, man, it's a beautiful place to be, man. It was an interesting transition, but man, I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
Amazing, and thank you for sharing that all with us and that incredible story. And it's clear anyone that knows you or follows you that you really gravitated towards sports at an early age. They played such a formative role in your life. So talk to me about some of those lessons and some of those experiences you had coming to Canada, getting involved in sports, and how have they impacted other areas of your life?
Yeah, sports has been a big fact. Like it's been a very instrumental tool for me. It has shaped me into the man I am today. Growing up in Nigeria, all we played was soccer. We play soccer all day, every day. We call it football back then. So when I came to Canada, listen, I had coaches telling me I need to check out playing on the football team. I need to play some basketball. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it all a shot. And I was so blessed by the amazing coaches that put me in the right settings to really learn more about teamwork. You know what I mean? And really understanding that word team. Together, everyone achieves more. The value of really pulling and trusting in each other's strengths and weaknesses. It is really allowed me to learn more about my work ethic because of sport, because of the passion to be great on the field or on the court. I was pushing myself in ways I never even knew was possible. All of a sudden, I'm like, man, if I could apply that mentality, that mindset into every area of my life, just imagine, one of the things I love to say is the way I do anything is the way I do everything. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Hmm.
If not, I don't want to
Hmm.
do it. You know what I mean? So sports has been such a instrumental tool for me. It has shaped me in so many ways that I could talk forever about.
And I got to ask you a very Canadian follow up question here, because you said
Yeah.
you came here and you tried everything. Did you try your hand at hockey? I
You
think
know what? You
I'm
know
curious
what?
and I want to know.
Hey, you know what? That was the one sport that, yo, man, the skating thing, man, people make it look too easy. Like I can
It's
push
not
up my
easy.
right,
Yeah.
but for some reason my left doesn't want to join the party, and I'm too afraid to stop. So I
So
just had
hockey
to
was
stay in
a
my
yeah.
lane. I had to stay in
Hockey
my
was a no
lane.
go. Yeah,
It,
hockey was a
it
no
was
go.
a no
Everything
go.
else was good. Okay,
It was a
good
no
to
go.
know. Thank you, my Canadian beating heart had to know. And now with sports being such a big part of your life, you're actually a coach yourself now, which is amazing. So talk to me. Who were some of those influential coaches you had growing up, and what was sort of the wisdom they passed down to you to help you be successful today?
Man, that word coach, man, like so many amazing coaches have come into my life in so many different settings and have played such like they saw things in me I didn't even see myself. One story that always sticks with me that I think I'll always remember was like I just got hurt in the football season and I missed the rest of the year, my grade 12 year. And I was always on the basketball team also, but I was just kind of in this cloud. I was kind of feeling depressed. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with sports. Screw this. Blah blah blah. I was trying to play that victim card. And my basketball coach like, hey, see, are you gonna be at the tryout tomorrow? You're gonna be at the tryout. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I wasn't feeling it, but I was too scared to tell him to his face. And I remember the night of the tryout, I'm just at home chilling, watching TV, and I get my phone ringing, and I pick up this call. It's my coach. It's like, where the heck? He was swearing. He's like, where the heck are you? I say, well, I'm like, yo, coach, this here I couldn't tell you, but he's like, and he said, you better get here, and he just hung up the phone. I was like,
Wow.
yo, and before you know, I'm like, I gotta get to this gym. I gotta get to the gym. I got to the
So you
gym.
went. You actually got
I
up and went.
honestly, I went to the gym. I was late. I snuck in there. And then it's like, hey, just get in there, and we can talk about it afterwards. And that day, man, this guy did something for me that it changed the trajectory of my life. Like to be honest with you, that like him like not even taking my BS and just pushing me to do something I know I was good at. That change just it gave me my mojo back. That's right. It allowed me to go play at the university level with football. I got my swagger back. I got my mind back. I got my motivation back. And right there, I was ready to throw it all away. And it was a coach who just knew who
Wow.
I was and what I was capable of. Called me out, didn't even give me a chance to make an excuse, and just hung up on me.
Wow.
so so
Tough
coaches have
love.
been a powerful. Tough love has been great. It's yeah.
And I mean, it's amazing. Like I feel whether it's an athlete or an entrepreneur, like everyone has a few of those like defining moments where it's like, if you didn't show up, your life would have taken a completely different path. And I'm sure you're still in touch with these people and these influential people, but amazing what these mentors can do for us. And it sounds like that's, sort of impassioned you to take it to the next level. Because I actually understand you're not just in sports, but you're actually doing work as a life coach and a keynote speaker. You're also, I believe, coaching as a defensive back coach with the UBC Thunderbirds, if I'm not mistaken. So how did you go from athletics into, I want to take this the next step and be a life coach and be doing, keynotes and TED Talks in the future? Like, how did you get there?
Yeah, you know what? It's always been a passion of mine, and uh, uh, training people gave me that space to really work with people one on one, and like I've being because for me when I look at my training, it's that it's so much on the mind. No matter if you in like it's not so much on the physical results that just the reason it's just extra. Those are bonuses. We're gonna get that. That's a given. But for me, is this I'm trying to get people ready for life. You know what I mean? And for me, I've always been a passionate about speaking. Those are my big goals, big dreams. And through sports, through fitness, I've been placed in environments to really inspire people to a deeper level with my clients. I work with them one on one as life coaching, and then that transition just kind of happened. I got my certification, and speaking like this year because of COVID, it's been crazy, man. Like I've been speaking every week.
Wow.
It's been such a blessing because I just have a passion to pour my out to people, and for me again, it's all about the mindset. So like through sports, right? It was the initial vehicle for me to really get in front of people and to really help them not just obtain the physical goal, but to allow them to really go after everything their heart desire for really, because my biggest thing is that settling mentality. You know what I mean? I hate that settling mentality. So sports has really allowed me to make that transition. And right now I'm so passionate about that because I want to be able to serve people at a deeper level.
And this is amazing. Anyone that's listening to you talk right now sees that there's something going on with you that's much bigger than just sports and just coaching, but it's involving those things. And I'd love to talk a little bit now about you and founding your own company, BRIO. So maybe tell us a little bit about what BRIO is, where the idea came from, and what your plans are.
You know what? Probably, but I think it was almost 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I had like a supervisor tell me like, "Hey, see one man, I want to duplicate you, man. How can I duplicate you?" And he told me that question, and that kept ringing in my head. I'm like, man, how can I duplicate myself? What can I do? How can I make this work? And in last year, I during the pandemic, I was spending a lot of close time with some clients of mine, and just they had friends all around the world just struggling in different areas, and I was sending them videos, inspiring them like, you can do this, you can do this. And you know what? Like it just lined up right. And the idea of brio, what it means is like an Italian word that means more energy. It's like a musical term. It's like do it again, but with more oomph. Give put your all in it. Give me more energy. And if you've ever been around me, if you've ever been in whether it's a class with me, anything like that, the most common theme you hear is that energy, man. The energy in this room was crazy. You know what I mean? So Brio was kind of my space for me to be able to like introduce this I say this online coaching platform that wasn't again just focused on the physical results, but we have that motivational component to it. We do personal development workshops. So it's all about again making sure people are prepared and equipped for life and whatever lies ahead. So yeah, it came like we've been officially launched since the beginning of this year, January, and but the idea popped in like a few years ago, and it just been marinating, and it was like, let's make this work.
Amazing. And so in the wake of this pandemic, I mentioned it in the intro that so many people are having that feeling of isolation, and they're doing things online that they never thought they would do online. But one positive is that it's kind of spawned this new generation of entrepreneurs. People have extra time on their hands, and they're looking to start a new, take that first step. So, what advice would you have for someone that's been thinking of taking a leap like you did and turning something that they're passionate about into a business?
Honestly, there's no such thing as the right time. You know, the
Good
sun
answer.
is
Yep.
not gonna like you're not gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, oh my god, this is the moment, this is the day, let's go for it. Like like you can like this I say relate with me here. It's that there's no such thing as the right time. And the big idea, the big vision you have, right? It's gonna take you starting to create the momentum for it to look the way you see it. And you got to start anyhow, because the only way you learn is by starting. The only way you improve is by starting. The only way it gets done is by starting. Sometimes we get so, this perfection, 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 and we never do anything. We just like to stay in this bubble of, what, this idea could be great. This idea could be great. But the only way it can be great is you have to take action. And there's no such thing as the right time. And I always like to use this analogy is that right now is the right time. And that word now means no opportunity wasted. You know what I mean? Today is the day for you to go after it. So if you've been sitting on any ideas, whatever it is, like, just understand that, what, I know you've been going around trying to ask for support from your family. Like, you've been going around trying to ask everyone's permission. Is this okay? Is this doable? Should I do this? All I gotta tell you is no one can give you permission but yourself. Okay? If they don't see the dream, if they can't support the dream, don't get mad. It is your dream for a reason. Why should they see it? Okay? So be okay being different. Okay? Embrace it and go after it. It's no right time.
Amazing answer. And for listeners that tune into our show every week, we have amazing entrepreneurs, founders, just like yourself. And that's such a common theme, is that there's that just start. There's never going to be a perfect time. Your idea is going to change over time, but you need to start. Experience is that incredible teacher. And if listeners of the Wellness Hub are out there listening and feeling emboldened by CY's comments, notice the pattern that's developing. Successful entrepreneurs taking that risk, but just starting and learning as they go. And I want to just mention out to our audience, if you've just joined us here, we're having a great conversation with CY Iwanegbe. If you have any questions, please type them. Let's ask them throughout the show. He's going to be here answering your questions about his amazing business. One thing, CY, I'm always curious to know, especially from highly motivated individuals like yourself, how do you set goals for yourself and continue your own development when so much of your time is spent helping other people's development?
Yeah, you know what? Because at the end of the day, you got to understand that if you're not growing, if you're not learning, you're dying. We're either going one way or the other. And if you really want to be able to impact people, if you really want to be able to love people, it starts with yourself. The more you can really take care of this vehicle you got, in terms of, if you're not challenging yourself, how can you with integrity challenge someone to live a better life? You know what I mean? And for me, again, it's goal setting, and not just setting goals, and it's not real until it's on your schedule. That's how I like to say, you need to get specific goals. You need to be able to measure those goals. You need to put a time on those goals. And for me, it's that, it's that hunger for more. Is that hunger to win? Because a lot of people just want to compete, but do you want to win? I want you to win in life. Don't just get in the game. Win the game, like whatever that is. And I love what you mentioned earlier about pivoting, or listen, about your ideas will change. It's just letting people know that, don't start anything feeling like your feet is stuck in quicksand. You know what I mean? Like, let life, if you got to pivot. Don't get married to the idea. Be married to the idea of serving others and improving yourself. And whatever it looks like, however form it takes, you go after it. So for me, I'm always setting goals, because I need to be able to walk that talk. I would never make someone do something I wouldn't do.
And amazing. And that's a perfect answer. And one of the things that I think is equally important as being super motivated and setting aggressive goals for yourself is also finding time to unplug and unwind and disconnect. So I'm curious, on the other side, as someone who brings so much energy and so much motivation and works so hard, what do you do for yourself when you need to recharge and sort of unwind?
I love to have fun, man. I'm like, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. That's one thing I always say. For me, for me to unwind, I love to exercise too. Like, exercising allows me to get that out. You know what I mean? I love to just play around, hang out, watch some Netflix, hang out with my wife, hang out with my kids, hang out with some friends. Life is too short not to have some fun while you're doing it. It's just creating margin for, like, it's just creating space for you to create new memories. You know what I mean? Whatever it could look like. And like right now in the summer, go camping. When I go camping, I take that week unplug, like, completely. I don't want nothing. I want the creative juice to come flowing. I don't want no emails, nothing like that. So really creating space for yourself to to not get burnt out. You know what I mean? And creating space for you to also, enjoy the process while you're at it, right? So don't take yourself too seriously. Just laugh, like have fun with people down the road.
And I got to ask you about this as well. You touched on it briefly. I would say this is definitely your most important coaching role to date. So I understand you just recently became a father about 6 months ago, and I knew you're quite new to fatherhood. But tell us what the highlights and what the lessons you've been able to take from that amazing experience are so far.
Man, I am so blessed, man. Honestly, this is by far my biggest achievement to life. You know what I mean? And that boy, man, it's so hard to have a bad day when you see him smiling. You know what I mean? And honestly, the biggest lesson from that is just, don't sweat the little stuff. You know what I mean? Like, don't sweat the little stuff. Like when I see my kid, just like, no matter how stressed and crying he was 2 seconds ago, I just smile at him and he gives me a smile back. We can always control that emotion. And for me, it's the the biggest thing I've been learning too is just learning how to manage my time and energy. Like I've been last night, he's up, he's up, but also understanding that my goal is to always over deliver no matter what. So with this fatherhood, honestly, man, this is the most important hat I wear. You know what I mean? I do not take that for granted. And what a miracle it is. You know what I mean? It just shows you miracles happen. Because sometimes we're like waiting for see a blind mind. Now you can see a cripple. Now they can walk. But a newborn child is the biggest miracle there is. Like, how can man do that? You know what I mean? So yeah,
amazing. And thank you for sharing that and all those amazing photos that our listeners are seeing right now.
Yeah, that's the cutest boy. No bias.
Just incredible. Not biased at all. We're going to ask a couple of quick questions. If you're just joining us, you're here with CY Iwanegbe talking all things fitness and online mental health. So we're going to ask a couple more questions and we'll go to some audience questions. So, I want to switch lanes for a bit. As you know, I'm a professional chef. Food is my life. You're here on the UpMeals Wellness Hub. So I got to ask you, I'm sure you take your health, your nutrition seriously. What's your go-to meal when you just are starving and you want to feel good? Like, what's your go-to? I got to know.
Man, that's so hard, man. I love food, though. You got to know. I eat anything. Like,
we ask the hard-hitting questions here.
Oh, man. For me, it depends. Like, okay, like I'm not trying to be healthy yet. My go-to is some Nigerian rice and stew. Like, I'll go through that like any day, anytime. Man, I'll eat anything though, to be honest. It's so hard to pick food when it comes to like what food will I eat. What is your go-to food?
You know what? For me, it's a tough question because it's like, again, choosing my favorite things in life. Like, how could I choose? But for me, it's not necessarily about the food. It's about that experience of who I'm with and who I made it that connects me to it, right? Mm-hmm. So something as simple as anything, any dish, if it's made with love and made by someone that cares about me, that's what makes it delicious to me. And that's what's the most important thing. So I've had amazing, simple food with an amazing experience that's become amazing in default.
Yeah.
So, and thank you for putting me in the hot seat. That's always a tough question for me to answer too.
Yeah.
We've got a question coming in from Instagram here, CY. So who are some of your favorite sports figures and how do they inspire you? Probably another tough one for you.
Oh, that's a good one. This is such a good one. There's so many people that I can honestly list. I think right off the top, I think about Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I am the greatest. Muhammad Ali is an icon. He said the talk, but he backed it up. He was an artist. He was very poetic. He changed, like he was a movement maker. He wasn't just an athlete. He was the first athlete to be like, I'm more than an athlete. You know what I mean? It was part of this wave of freedom fighters. And like just his whole who he is, who is embodied. Muhammad Ali, hands down, just inspires me in so many ways of just daring to be great, like audaciously daring to be great. And you can go down the line, Kobe Bryant, Black Mamba. Come on now. If you need motivation, Kobe Bryant, come on now. So There's so and this and for him is just seeing the true work ethic, just understanding that mindset of never settling, that desire to constantly, like, and not just that, but to see him on the court and also see how he was with his family. You know what I mean? And see, like, how can this guy be so devoted to be the greatest basketball player of all time? But you can just tell, like, the way he admires his family is just at a whole nother level. And that balance, man, that's a hard thing to do. So there's so many athletes. I'll just list Michael Jordan, of course. We got Tom Brady. This
Mhm.
guy's going for 10 rings.
Got all the coats on there. Yeah.
LeBron James.
Mhm.
Like, honestly, there's so many amazing athletes. Brian Dawkins, like, you guys might not know who that is, but he's a football player. His safety is a Hall of Famer. He's retired now,
Mhm.
and, like, he's just such a strong man of God. But he's like a devil on the field, man. This guy showed how to switch, how to show that competitive edge, but still love people, man. And I love that because that's all about me too. So yeah.
Amazing! Oh, amazing. We've got some definitely some big names and some athletes to follow. We've got another question coming in from Facebook here. So this is a question. This is a great question. What drives you to be a motivator in life, and where do you get all of that optimism and energy from?
Honestly, guys, to be real with you, this is my default setting. I'm always intrigued by what motivates people. Like, if you catch me on a bus, if you catch me anywhere on an airplane, by the end of the flight, like, we're gonna know each other. I want to see where you at, what drives you, what is going on in your life. But what drives me in all that, it's honestly is my potential. Like, my potential makes, like, I can't settle. My potential makes me, like, so, where the energy, where that comes from, man. Somehow, it's all about taking care of my body, though. Obviously, I'm constantly investing in that, meditating, training, the way I eat, the way I sleep, things like that. But on top of that is just, it's a choice. It's a choice to have the right energy. Like, you can not have energy and soak in it, or you can say snap out of it. Like, it's a choice. You gotta program yourself. So it's not supposed to be easy every time. You can find the triggers. You can do certain things. Like, before we came on here, I had to, like, wake up, trigger myself to, let's
I
go.
saw you.
Let's
I
be
saw you
here.
doing that backstage. It scared me a bit, but
Yeah.
now I'm glad that you did it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We're
I,
there.
I got it. Because, guys, because we can't allow, because your emotional home is gonna create. It's gonna dictate the quality of your life, and you gotta understand. You gotta take control of your emotional state. That is your absolute choice, and the strategies to do that. Your focus, the language you have, things like that. But you have absolute control of that, because the most powerful thing on this planet is the human emotion. The most powerful force is a human emotion. So you need to take control of that.
Are you guys soaking all of this in? Because CY is out here. He's dropping bombs right now of truth and knowledge. And I hope you guys are enjoying this conversation. CY, I would love, at this point, where can our listeners go to learn more about you, about BRIO, and all the great work that you're doing?
Oh, you guys can go check out brio.zone. So that's BRIO.zone. You can go on Instagram, online, on the platform, anything you want to find us, brio.zone. And that's where you can get everything we need there. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. CY, thank you so much for joining us here tonight on the Wellness Hub, sharing your story, sharing your journey with us, and your motivational inspirations. This has been incredible. And I know our listeners have gotten a ton of value from it. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you'll come back again soon.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. It's been an honor coming in. Guess what? I heard you're a chess player. We might
We're not supposed to talk about that. Yeah,
oh yeah,
no.
we might have to run one quick.
You know what, CY? I love chess, and I started playing when I was in grade school, but there was no cool Netflix show like Queen's Gambit to make chess.
Oh, Queen's Gambit now. Come on now.
There was no, it was like people were not cheering for me like when I came out of the portable after chess club. So thank you for sharing that. Yes, it's in my bio and I still love it to this day. That's how I keep my
let's go.
brain going.
I'm a little bit rusty, but I'm ready, man, any day.
We'll play online and hopefully in person soon. Thank you, CY. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Wow, anyone else like feeling super motivated right now from that conversation? It was fascinating to hear CY's story, to see how formative team sports were to his personal growth, and to see how he then took that and then went and took it to a whole new level to harness his natural energy, his charisma to motivate others. I personally loved to hear CY's enthusiasm for collaboration. I think working together is so important for team sports, for socialization at a young age. It's a skill that translates into so many facets later in life. As someone myself who has spent much of my adult life working in professional kitchens, I mean, the ability to communicate, to work effectively within a group, it's just a crucial life skill. And today as an entrepreneur in an office setting, communication and cohesion between departments, managers, employees is paramount to any success within any organization, team, or corporate. So it's our hope that enlightening conversations like this one today might guide you towards discovering the motivation and the resources that you need to unlock that full potential. So as we discussed today, finding the motivation you need to overcome those fears or chase your dreams, it believes with believing in yourself. Listen to what CY said. So we tend to put off that distant voice in our head that's begging for us to take charge, wait for everything to be perfect, and wait to see what happens. Sometimes our obstacles seem so large that we just don't start. They're easier to simply ignore or walk away from than to take that first step. So our question today as we sign off is, what's that change that you want to see in yourself or in your life? What's stopping you from pursuing it? Is it self-doubt? Is it fear of what others may think? Is it the fear of failing and trying? I hope this conversation today has helped you realize that whatever your misgivings, you owe it to yourself to listen to that voice. And as CY said, just go for it. However unattainable those dreams may be, they'll only stay unattainable if you never try. I encourage you all to check out and support CY Iwanegbe to learn more about his work with BRIO and all of the resources that they're offering people to help them unlock their full potential. Thank you for tuning in tonight. If you'd like to see more great conversations like this, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe or follow us on YouTube, Instagram, or LinkedIn at UpMeals. We'll see you next Wednesday evening right here on the Wellness Hub for another great conversation. I'm Drew Munro. Until then, take care and be well.